Here's part 8 of our conversation with Bill Champlin. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Street Music. When Cetera released his second album, a friend of mine interviewed him, and he had listened to Chicago 18. He had listened to it. And Steve got him. My buddy gave me all his interviews. Cetera says, you know what? It's a pretty good record. You know, he says, it's a really good record. He says, I don't know why they recorded 25 or 624 again.
People have that locked in their head, you know. They just have that locked in their head that, hey, what are they trying to do? Ruining one of those old songs. But I guess they were trying to establish they're the new Chicago now, and that's fine, you know. It's their choice.
It was just, you know, sometimes you get an idea and you follow it out, and you don't realize until it's already out there. That was a mistake. You know, I mean, classic radio just said, you just peed on the flag. You know, how dare you do that? And, you know, at some point in the game, I thought it was kind of a cool piece of music, and it was just a rearrangement of a song. You know, nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people just, you know, especially, it's weird, especially Chicago fans, they're so territorial about the original and, you know, this has got to be this way and this has got to be this way, that at some point in the game, I realized I'm about as welcome here as a truckload of white rats in a tampon factory. You know what I mean?
Really? I you know, through the
wasn't really happening.
What catalyst was it, Bill, for you that you said, okay, enough of that?
Well, I had just basically joined Chicago. We were in the middle of the Chicago 17 tour, which was endless. It just went on for like a year and a half. And, you know, it'd be home for like a week and then back out for another month and then home for a week, maybe not a month, but 24, 25 days. And I was, you know, I was doing blow, I was drinking. And by the time toward the end of that thing, I was just going, I'm just making myself more weary than I need to be. So I called my brother-in-law, and he hit me to you know, probably the granddaddy of all treatment centers. And I checked in when we finally got off the road. Just a short time later, I just checked into to Hazelden, and I did a month there, and met some really cool people, and got myself clean. You know, isn't that a win in Rome and rock and roll? I remember a little while ago I did an interview with Steve Hackett of Genesis formerly of Genesis, and I said, "Hey man, it's like 8:00 where you're at." And he said, "Well, we can't do that shit anymore." He said, "We don't do that anymore. I'd be dead now." But rock and roll, I'm overstating the obvious, but isn't it a win in Rome thing? Everyone's having a party and it's too easy. Well, I mean, at one point in the game, we were looking around and we were realizing our lawyers were doing more than we were. the disease spreads, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. It's just, and I'm not a real giant, big time program guy, you know, but you know, I mean, I was for a little while because I was, you know, right after I stopped, it was a little white knuckly for a while, but I just kind of went, you know, that's enough. Let's, you know, and I probably would have lost my job had I kept it up. And that was a pretty decent, well-paying job, you know?
Of course.
So it ended up being, you know, a much more positive thing for me to bail out on it. Every once in a while I see people my age that are still doing blow. I'm going, holy shit, how can you do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's just whatever the damage is going to be done, it's gonna be done more seriously to somebody older than it is somebody younger. You know,
do you want to hear?
It's all about Constitution, really.
All about Constitution. Stevie's song that's a gorgeous piece of music. Who's Stevie?
Stevie Wonder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On television, I've seen everybody out on the streets screaming at the top of their lungs, yelling at the top of their lungs. And I was going, what happened to, you know, what's going on? What happened to the Stevie stuff? And, you know, everybody's yelling so much. And I realized that everybody's listening to, you know, the kind of records where people just do nothing but yell. I said, it may be your music that's the problem. Check out what you're listening to, you know? I mean, because there's a lot of really angry hip-hop, angry rap songs. Not so much lately. I mean, a lot of them are just trying to get on radio with whatever they can do. But you hear a lot of loud yelling on records. And you don't get that with Stevie Wonder. I mean, he can screech. He can get in there and burn. But it's always uplifting. It's always spiritual. And my God, it's Stevie Wonder. It doesn't get any better than that. You know what I mean? He's one of the best singer on the earth. he had a record. You know, it was one of those records with I heart and a picture of a heart and something else with a number. And I don't particularly read that language, but it was, I think, one of the last records that he released. And there was a song in there called Passionate Raindrops.
Yeah.
The second verse of that song is the best vocal, the best singing ever recorded by anybody. It's that good.
Oh my God, I got to write this down. I don't know if I know it. I
think the record was out maybe 10, 11 years ago.
Passionate Raindrops. Okay.
Passionate Raindrops is the name of the song. You probably get it online. You probably just
I can find it.
But his vocals, oh man, forget about it. He's bad to the bone, man.
Love Has No Heart. To me, that's another song. Sounds like a single.
That's what kind of gospel-y a little bit. You know, that was Tamara and Michael Caruso sort of started that tune and got it going. And they had a little bit of an idea of how the music would be. And I think I was in on it in the beginning. I mean, it had been one of those ones that had been banging around in their book for a good while. And they finally finished it. I just went up to the studio and just started programming it. And it ended up being really great. We were thinking once again about doing it on a Wonderground album, but I went, no, I want to save it for the solo album. And but Gary had a guitar solo on us, one of his better solos.
That's when we talked last. It was the Wonderground album. I remember. Yeah.